Chapter 5. We had scarcely another mile before the slate-colored clouds, which the wind had been piling together in the upper sky, ripped apart, and great clouds of soft, feathery snowflakes came tumbling down, blotting out the road ahead and cutting our speed to a snail's pace. It was almost gray light before we arrived at the outskirts of Harrisonville, and the snow was falling harder than ever as we headed up the main thoroughfare. "Alas, my friend, there is not the chance of a Chinaman that we can return to the cloisters before noon. Be our luck of the best," the agrarian muttered discontentedly. "Therefore, I suggest that we go to your house and obtain a few hours' rest." "But how about the medicine you wanted?" I objected. "Hadn't we better see about getting that first?" "No," he returned. "It will keep. The medicine I seek could not be administered before tonight, if that soon, and we can secure it later as well as now." Rather surprised at our unheralded return, but used to the vagaries of a bachelor physician and his eccentric friend, Nora McGinnis, my housekeeper and general factotum, prepared a toothsome breakfast for us next morning, and we had completed the meal, lingering over coffee and cigarettes a little longer than usual, when de Grandon's face suddenly went livid as he thrust the folded newspaper he had been reading into my hand. "Look, mon ami," he whispered raspingly. "Read what is there. They did not wait long to be about their devilry." "State cop dead in mystery killing," announced the headline, to which he had directed my attention. Below was a brief dispatch, evidently a bit of last-minute news, sandwiched between the announcement of a sheriff's sale and a patent medicine advertisement. "John Skill, Sergeant Rossell, of the State Constabulary, is dead, and Private Shoup in a serious condition as a result of a battle with a mysterious band of masked ruffians near this place early this morning. Shortly after 10 o'clock last night, Matilda Stebbins, of Osmondville, who was returning from her visit to a neighbor's with her 3-year-old grandson George, was attacked by a company of men mounted on black or dark-colored horses, and enveloped in long black gowns, according to her story to the troopers. The leader of the gang struck her a heavy blow with a club or blackjack, evidently with the intention of stunning her, and seized the little boy, lifting him to his saddle. Had it not been for the fact that Mrs. Stebbins still affects long hair and was wearing a stiff felt hat, the blow would undoubtedly have rendered her unconscious. But as it was, she was merely knocked to the roadside ditch, without losing consciousness, and as she lay there, half stunned from the blow, she heard the kidnappers exchange several words in some foreign language, Italian, she thought, before they set out at breakneck pace, giving vent to wild whoops and yells. The direction of their flight was toward this place, and as soon as she was able to walk, Mrs. Stebbins hobbled to the nearest telephone and communicated with the state police. Sergeant Roswell and Private Shoup were detailed to the case and started in pursuit of the whereabouts on their motorcycles, encountering no one along the road who would admit having seen the company of mysterious mounted gangsters. About 2 miles this side of the cloisters, palatial country place of Tandy Von Ripper, well-known New York financier. According to Trooper Shoup, he and his companion came upon the kidnappers, riding at almost incredible speed. Drawing their pistols, the state policemen called on the fleeing men to halt, and received no reply. Opened fire. Their bullets, though fired at almost point-blank range, seemed to take no effect. Trooper Shoup declares that the leader of the criminal band turned about and charged him and his companion, deliberately riding Sergeant Roswell down. According to Shoup, a shot fired by Roswell directly at the horse, which was about to trample him, took no effect, though the pistol was less than 3 feet from the beast's breast. Shoup is suffering from a broken arm, 3 fractured ribs, and a severe bruise on the head, which he alleges was dealt him when one of the thugs struck him with the flat of a sword. Physicians at Mercy Hospital, believing Shoup's description of the criminals and the fight to be colored by the beating he received, intimate that he is not wholly responsible for his statements, as he positively declares that every member of the band of criminals was fully arrayed in black armor and armed with a long sword, working on the theory that the kidnappers are a band of Italian desperados who assumed this fantastic disguise. Strong posses of state police are scouring the neighborhood. It is thought the little Stebbins boy was abducted by mistake, as the family are known to be in very moderate circumstances, and the chances of obtaining a ransom for the lad are slight. "You see?" de Grandin asked as I put the paper down with an exclamation of dismay. "No, I'm hanged if I do," I shot back. "The whole gruesome business is beyond me. Is there any connection between what we saw at the cloisters last night and—" "Why, Willimer, no. Is there a connection between the serpent and his venom, the devil and the names of hell?" he cried. "Yes, my friend, there is such a connection as will take all our skill and courage to break, I fear. Meantime, let us hasten. Let us fly to the city hospital. There is that there which shall prove more than a surprise to those vile miscreants, those forsworn servants of the Lord, when next we see them. Mon vieux, what in the world are you talking about?" I demanded. "Whom do you mean by forsworn servants of the Lord?" "Ah, good friend," he returned, his face working with emotion, "you will know in due time. If what I suspect is true, if not—" He raised his shoulders in a fatalistic shrug as he snatched his overcoat. For upward of half an hour I cooled my heels in the frosty winter air, while de Grandin was closeted in conference with the superintendent of the city hospital. But when he came out, he was wearing such a smile of serene happiness that I had not the heart to berate him for leaving me outside so long. "And now, kind friend, if you will take me so far as the pro-cathedral, I shall have done the last of my errands, and we may begin our journey to the cloisters," he announced as he leaped nimbly into the seat beside me. The Right Reverend de Montgrégory, suffragan bishop of our diocese, was seated at his desk in the Senate House as de Grandin, and I was announced, and graciously consented to see us at once. He had been a more than ordinary successful railway executive, a licensed legal practitioner, and a certified public accountant before he assumed the cloth, and his worldly training had taught him the value of time and words, both his own and others, and rarely did he waste either. "Monsieur de Levic," de Grandin began, after he had greeted the gray-haired cleric with a rigidly formal European bow, "in the garden of your beautiful church there grows a bush raised from a sprig of the holly-thorn of Glastonbury, the tree which sprang from the staff of the blessed Joseph of Arimathea, when he landed in Britain after his voyage and travail. Monseigneur, we are come to beg a so little spray of that shrub from you." The bishop's eyes opened wide with surprise, but de Grandin gave him no time for reflection. "Sir," he hurried on, "it is not that we wish to adorn our own gardens, nor yet to put to a shameful commercial use, but we need it most urgently in a matter of great importance, which is toward—" Leaving his chair, he leaned across the bishop's wide rosewood desk and began whispering rapidly in the churchman's ear. The slightly annoyed frown which mounted to the bishop's face as the little Frenchman took the liberty changed slowly to a look of incredulity, then to an expression of amazement. "You really believe this?" he said at length. "More, Monsignor. I almost know it," de Grandin assured him earnestly. "And if I am not mistaken, as I hope I am not, but fear I am not, the holy thorn can do no harm, while it may—" He paused, waving his hand in an expressive gesture. Bishop Gregory touched one of the row of call buttons on his desk. "You shall have the cutting from the tree, and be very welcome," he assured my friend, "but I join with you in the hope you are mistaken." "Grand monsieur, Monsignor," de Grandin acknowledged with another bow. "Mordieu, but your great heart is equaled only by your massive intellect. Half the clergy would have said I raved had I told them one small quarter of what I related to you." The bishop smiled a little wearily as he put the sprigged thorn-bush into de Grandin's hand. "Half the clergy, like half the laity, know so much that they know next to nothing," he replied. "Name of name," de Grandin swore enthusiastically as we turned toward the cloisters. "And they say he is a worldly man. Mordieu, when will the foolish ones learn that the man who decides worldly wisdom to heaven's service is the most valuable servant of all?"